So going over chapter 12, we're essentially here, we're looking at agency problems and we're looking at compensation and performance. So looking at incentives and compensation, measuring and rewarding performance, what is residual income, and EVA, bias in accounting measures of performance. So looking at corporations, and we're looking at the balance of power. So shareholders are the owners, managers are the employees. Also consider the idea of a private company where a lot of times the CEO is also the founder / owner, and that actually provides a very different dynamic sometimes in terms of the agency problem. And we're going to go over that in a moment. Okay, so incentive bypass problems. So executives don't always do the best job in executing for shareholders, right? Because ultimately shareholders want the most value, executives want to get compensated and keep their job. So the ultimate issue is that executives want to entrench themselves and make sure they're paid well, make sure there's a good culture, and owners want a good return on their investment. So this can be a cultural difference where there's either not enough oversight or too much oversight from shareholders, and that impacts the culture, it impacts the firm, it could impact even whether they stay in business or not. So agency problems and risk taking. So the agency problems and risk taking, one example is CEOs taking too much risk and basically not taking into account ultimately what is the long-term shareholder value. If you think about, for example, Warren Buffett invests into companies that do manage for the very long-term value, right? The issue with an agency problem, that a CEO that's thinking very short-term might prioritize his needs in his risk-taking. In other words, maybe take a huge risk that will pay off and then he'll get a huge bonus. Maybe it's a 50-50, and if he does, the coin flip is in his favor, he gets a huge bonus, but that's not what the shareholders want. The shareholders maybe want to take a much smaller risk, like 10% or 5% risk, not 50% risk. So that is the core of the agency problem, and then there's a lot of oversight that can help in the agency problem. So we have the boards of directors, and we have auditors, make sure the accounting is GAAP, lenders track the company, shareholders have votes and things like that, and rival companies can come in and outcompete poor performance. So these are all checks and balances, and create help in mitigating the agency problem.